Hello, everyone. This is Nick from New York, and this is another episode of DS Breaking News. I'm joined with my co-host, Billy Body. What's up, man?
Hello. Yeah, not much. Just a little bit of news coming through. I've
That's
just
right.
seen that this is going like live on YouTube. So if you subscribe, you'll get these instantly.
That's right. As soon as we post it, no filter, no editing, just us live right to YouTube with the news.
So like if we could be telling you that Chris Benoit is going from family member to family member as it happens,
Right.
right here on YouTube.
That's right, dude. That's why you would subscribe, right? So you can get the news instantly, breaking news, the shit you guys have been asking and begging for. Well, you can get it as soon as basically anybody knows. So we hear it first, and you guys will be the second ones to hear it if you subscribe to us on YouTube.
What do we have today? Let's move on with that.
Well, we have some information our sources have told us as to what the true story behind Austin's appearance on Raw was and what the details surrounding that were. And I know that you spoke to some people inside WWE who told you what was going on with that.
Yeah, so we gave Meltzer some shit, and I don't know if Meltzer did base this entire story around the fact that they were selling Los Angeles 316 t-shirts or not.
It's
So
impossible to
that's
it's impossible to know.
it's impossible to know. I didn't run the story on it because all I knew was that they were selling the t-shirts
Right.
and Austin was going to be. But Austin turns up to every single Raw in LA because that's where he lives, and he normally just goes there to catch up with people or to grab people for his podcast or
Right.
whatever. Well, on this instance, from what I'm being told, is that they did have something for him to do on TV, but it only centered around this ball, or big baller brand thing that they wanted to do.
Right.
And it did involve giving out the Stone Cold Stunner to the dad. Now,
Which I would have really liked to have
for
seen,
some
by the
reason,
way. I really would have liked to have seen that.
I think everybody did, but not only did me and you personally not understand why these people were even on the show, but they were actually so important to the WWE that they were given full creative control pretty much over what they did. I wouldn't say it went down like that, but I would pretty much say the procedure or the process, from what I'm told, is that they came in, they were there. What they wanted to do was have Austin stun the dad.
Yeah.
The dad was for it. So Steve Austin was then told he doesn't want to do it, so we don't have anything for you, which Steve Austin was fine with because he's fine with that because he's often said, and I think his position is clear with them, that he just doesn't want to do any old shit like going
Right.
out there drinking a beer and doing something pointless. So he was fine with doing this segment. If the segment didn't go ahead, then he'd be there doing his usual thing. He's there anyway, networking, whatever. The t-shirts were probably a pure coincidence. So I don't know whether Meltzer ran the story off the back of that or whether he knew that this is the angle that they wanted to pitch and that he just jumped the gun. We didn't because we know how things go with WWE. And especially
Right.
I wouldn't run a celebrity story where you're talking about a celeb getting stunned. And mainly I kind of thought initially that this guy was underneath being stunned to the point where WWE didn't see the point of doing it. And in fact, they see him as a big deal to the point where even though his son came out and said N word, N word, N word, Vince McMahon was happy with
Loved
the
it.
dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he thought he had a lot of personality and charisma and says that they would have him back again and do something else with him in the future. I'm not looking forward to it and I'm not interested in it personally. And I'd have had a lot more respect for the guy if he just came out there and played that horrendous character that he did, which I'm told is also not even his character. He's just a complete ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen him get the stunner. It would have been justification for the entire angle. I definitely wouldn't have liked to
I mean,
see.
it would have popped the crowd big time if he took a stunner.
Yeah, I mean, what we didn't need to see is fucking Dean Ambrose coming out there and sucking up to the guy and wearing his t-shirt and baby facing him because this guy wasn't a babyface. I mean, his son, who signed for the Lakers, is supposed to be a big deal. He didn't even get a babyface reaction because the dad's such a prick.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
Like I said, Stone Cold Stunner was the way to go. This is what Austin was supposed to do, and it didn't happen. So, with that said, was Meltzer completely wrong? I think at this point, you have to give him somewhat of the benefit of the doubt. You should never report stories that are not true. When you report something and it ends up being incorrect, you're always going to take shit. We've been the victim of it maybe twice the entire time
Yeah.
that we've been doing this. But I mean, Meltzer, like I said, he's borderline on 10% accurate now, and it's unfortunate because he has been around for such a long time, and people are starting to pick up on it. I actually did an interview where they wanted to pick up on the exact fact, and they wanted me to discuss Saturn and Meltzer. And Meltzer's in a worse position, but I don't think in some ways it doesn't matter because the subscriber base is so solid. He'll always have an excuse, and he'll always be able to say things change. So whether he had the right version of things or not, he could probably get away with this point of turning around and saying plans
Yeah.
change when in fact there was no agreement from the other side in the first place. It was simply a case of, we'll bring Steve in. This is what we want to do. We'll run it by this guy. The guy doesn't want to do it. Okay, Steve, we've got nothing for you. So
It's strange that they sent Steve home with nothing to do and they kept this guy on TV instead of it being the other way around.
well, this guy's the
They
big draw.
they get a little bit of a whiff of that mainstream celebrity, even though this guy is D-list. They get a little bit of a whiff of that, and they can't help themselves. They're such media whores.
Yeah, but Steve Austin wouldn't have done anything else. Like, this guy was out here to promote all this shit, and Steve Austin was there to be in a big segment, which is what they saw this as. And once he didn't want to take that stunner and didn't want to have that physicality involved or do anything that
That
degraded
was
him
it.
somewhat, even though he degraded himself every time he opened his mouth. Yeah, that was it. So Steve Austin, I'm sure that if Steve Austin himself, with Steve Austin's, let's just make no mistakes about it, and say the sun shines out of Austin's ass. Austin's fucking difficult to work with, and he won't do any shit that he doesn't approve of. He's not going to go out there and he's not going to come out afterwards and do a pointless stunner on Bo Dallas and Axel. He's just not. He's just not interested in doing it. He said it on his own show, and that's pretty much what I've been told about the guy. So yeah, Austin is actually, ironically, interested in something, in a big storyline. I mean, he's even interested in being a long-term character, or at least being on TV for a long amount of time, as long as it involves a storyline or something that he can be involved in and invest in emotionally. Otherwise, if that's not there, and if the money's not right, then Austin doesn't want to do it.
I mean, Austin is so protective of his character and his legacy. Like, he did that interview with Paul Heyman, and Paul kind of sideswiped him, kind of caught him off guard with the "when are we going to see you and Brock in the ring?" And Austin has no interest in getting back in the ring. He's not planning on getting back in the ring. There are no plans for him to wrestle Brock. And he goes into character like that, and he starts.
He booked the whole of WrestleMania that they weren't going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I was so bummed from the feeling of being up here thinking that was the Mania to coming down and knowing that it wasn't. That's actually the only one I haven't attended.
Right.
Since 21, because it's like, you know what, you dangle this carrot and fuck you, because we're not getting it. And aside from that, 32 was littered with injuries. It was like a fucking graveyard of injuries. But aside from that, the interesting thing is that even though we do shit on this guy, and then we've also just said that Austin's very protective of what he does, Austin considered this guy on a high enough level to work with on this show.
I don't get it.
We don't get it, but I don't think it's for us. It is for the guys that watch. And I watch sports, but I don't watch like the NBA draft. Like, I watch NBA when it's on. I know the players that are playing. I know people in the NFL. Obviously, I watch the English football here. I watch a ton of sports. Like, I do the sports gambling podcast. But the guys that I work with are a lot heavily invested in the college scene and just the entire sport as a whole. They'll know who the young players are coming through. They'll know who's been drafted in the draft. They know who this is. And those people that watched wrestling and follow the NBA religiously, they were able to put this shit together. And it was something that they wanted to see. And obviously, we can't knock that. We've been saying for a long time, don't book for these casuals. And on Monday night, they didn't book and whether it insulted you or insulted me, insulted Steve Austin, Curtis Axel, whatever, the bottom line is that they kind of did what we said they were going to do. I just feel that
they got coverage on ESPN and Sports Illustrated and Bleacher Report and all those websites and all those TV shows off the back of the segment. So
yeah, for saying nigger.
Yeah.
Twice. And I mean, I don't know if that's what you want out of this, to be honest, but somehow the door is open for the guy to come back and maybe we'll see him get stunned another time.
I didn't catch the N-word on the broadcast. I think they did a good job of editing it out on the TV broadcast. I mean, if our listeners or our viewers did catch it and tell me I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. And if you guys thought this was a good segment, tell me I'm wrong as well. But that's just
you know what the irony would be, Nick? If the guy's so in tune with wrestling somehow that he actually pulled a Steve Austin, where Steve Austin turned around and went, I'm not losing to Brock.
Yeah.
There's no build. And the guy's like, oh, I ain't fucking coming in and getting stunned on my first night. Like, you need to bring me in. You need to pay me like 5-6 times, and then I'll take it at the end. I mean, it's highly possible at this point that could happen because, like I said, the door is open for him to come back. And Austin considered him big enough to work with. That's the bottom line at the end of the day.
That's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you for viewing this live episode of DS Breaking News. Please subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave a comment. Leave a like. If you turn on notifications on YouTube, you'll get these as soon as they post. You'll get a notice when we go live, and you'll be able to hear them immediately. And like we said on our other show, which is dropping later on, if you don't view it on YouTube, you're going to have to wait 5-6 hours for you to get it on audio. So the first place to get it is right here on YouTube. Billy, is there anything else you want to say?
I'm trying to distract you with this while you were talking.
Oh, shit. I have my screen underneath the camera. There it is.
Is that coming through?
Yeah, I can hear it.
He's toy, like all the cool toys are out now. Like the Austin that I had when I was growing up. Well, I wasn't growing up. I was still 16, 17 years old, but it didn't do anything like this.
That's awesome.
They actually, like, if I find one of the other talking ones, they'll actually talk to each other.
That's what I heard. They have like they have the ability to know which other wrestler is in the ring with them, so they can have a little promo against each other.
You can actually do a live demo like right now. But if I can actually find somebody else, there's like 100.
Get Dean Ambrose, and then there'll be awkward silence.
I can't find Ambrose. The only one I can find right now is I saw Undertaker a minute ago.
It's probably for the best that Ambrose isn't there. And I'm gonna need a couple peanuts.
Let's see if this works. Did you hear that?
Is that Dead Man Inc. Undertaker?
No, that was the Undertaker that had his haircut.
Okay. Well, there you go. Little toy demo there at the end. Anything else you want to say, Billy? Oh, our reviews. You got to review us so you can get our special interview coming at the end of the week if we get the reviews.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything else. I'm probably gonna play with these now before I go to bed.
All right, so Billy's gonna have a little playtime. Look forward to that, just like he did the Royal Rumble preview with the toys a couple years ago. We might post this on the internet as well.
It's a match that never happened. Look. Did you hear that? Did you hear him say Brock Lesnar?
Yeah. And that's clearly not Brock Lesnar's voice.
No, it's supposed to be Heyman.
Okay.
Maybe they could get Bruce Pritchard to come in and do all the impressions of all the voices, seeing as he thinks that
Yeah,
he's so good
they
at
could
them.
give him a paycheck so he can do the Macho Man and all those people.
Well, you know, he won't slag Vince McMahon off, so he is looking for literally any job that they'll give him.
And you'll hear about that on our upcoming episode of Pritchard Parade and what our thoughts are and what we think about the show going forward. So stay tuned for that too, folks. So like we said, subscribe, leave us a comment, leave us a like, turn on notifications, and thanks so much for watching.